Hello, welcome back to Topic Tuesday with Alan Dembski and Juliana Janson from Buffalo First Wealth Management. Today, we're going to continue with our three-part series on Social Security, claiming, and other things people should consider when discussing Social Security. As we mentioned in the first video, and we can't stress this enough, that Social Security is not a one-size-fits-all decision. It's also not a water cooler decision. Everybody has their own unique circumstances when filing for Social Security, and we're going to talk about some of those today. But people really need to understand what's best for themselves and their family when choosing to claim Social Security. So, who may want to take benefits early?
So basically, unfortunately, sometimes people just are not able to work. Their body gives out and they're just physically not able to continue to work. In those cases, they have to take Social Security early, and then a plan needs to be put in place to make sure that they're covering their expenses. On the other side of the fence, you've got individuals that have large investment accounts and are not depending on Social Security. They may be able to afford that lower rate forever into their retirement. In those cases, those individuals can take Social Security early. And basically, the other factor, unfortunately, is sometimes health considerations come into play. And if someone has, a life shortening diagnosis, it may make sense for them to take Social Security early.
Yeah, and I think lower earning spouses who optimize their lifestyle between two benefits. So if there's one spouse that's a stay-at-home parent for a long time and has a lower benefit, and that benefits back to your point of kind of affording it, where they might take that benefit early just to have that extra income coming in for that short period of time, whether they want to invest it or spend it, to optimize the ultimate goal of looking at a husband and wife Social Security. And people who've done complete analysis of their monthly expenditures, I think that's a huge thing for a lot of people, is understanding what their spending is before they claim, so they understand where money's coming in and what money's going out. And one thing I always like to tell clients too is, when you're looking at your monthly expenditures, especially as you get closer to retirement, you do what's current and then what's anticipated in retirement, because some things will change. For an example, if I eat out every day, which is, as a financial planner, I'd say probably not to do that. But if you ate out every day and now you're not working anymore, you're probably going to eat at home and possibly spend less money, or go out to lunch maybe once or twice a week with some friends and family. And
But some
somebody,
retirees, actually, their expenses go up a little because they have more time for leisure activities. So if you only had time for a round of golf a month when you were working, but now you have all this time, your greens fees might be adding to your monthly expenditure. So it really is individualized based on the person. And I agree, it's probably the most important part of planning for when to take Social Security. Huge.
yeah, and some of the other questions are like, are you going to continue working in retirement? And we both mentioned it through our other each of those other topics was, do you need the additional income?
Yeah.
You, is that money going to be needed for us?
Yeah, and again, the health consideration is big. It's not just individuals that are diagnosed with a life-shortening illness. It could take into effect your longevity as well as the comparison. It's really important to look at Social Security if you're in a married couple, to really identify what the best strategy is based on what each spouse is expected to get for different age claims.
And just kick off our part three series, is we're going to talk about that. So make sure you tune in for that one as well. Um, so then we talk about who should wait till their full retirement age, right? So
Yeah.
um,
So I think, one of the most important things to take into account, again, looking at the different Social Security amounts for each spouse, it's often the best strategy for the higher earning spouse to wait as long as possible. A lot of people don't realize that when one spouse passes away, there is a reduction of the lower earning spouse. So let's say you have a spouse that's earning 2,000 in Social Security and another one that's collecting 3,000. that widow or widower does not collect 5,000, they're only going to be collecting 3,000. So with that in mind, it's often really important to maximize the amount that the higher earning spouse gets for Social Security.
Yeah, and another consideration is, are you still working or do you plan on working in retirement? And we're going to touch on this in the next slide, is the penalty if you collect early is pretty substantial at almost 50%. $1 for every two that you collect is penalized when you're still working and you make over a certain threshold. And again, we'll touch on that in a second.
And the longevity. So take my example. My mom is in her 90s. My dad passed away in his 90s. And actually, both of my in laws also passed away in their 90s. We have a lot of longevity in our family history. And you're going to want to take that into account when you're making the decision for your own Social Security claiming strategy.
Yeah, and what are the other income sources coming in? Do you have pensions? Do you have investments to afford your lifestyle while you're waiting or delaying for that Social Security benefit to come in to maximize it for the long term? Again, based on the longevity of your family. And we're just going to touch on the earnings test real quick, because if you're still working and you're under your full retirement age, so again, if it's 66 or 67, and you're working, you have earned income, earned income, can't stress that enough. Benefits are reduced $1 for every two that you earn above $23,400. So if you're in your 63 and you're making 50,000, you're going to have pay back $1 for every two above the 23,400, roughly 27,000 there. Now, when you reach your full retirement age, your benefits are reduced $1 for every $3 above $62,160. So if you're an early birthday, sometimes you don't have to worry about that. If you're a later birthday and you have a high paying job, you might have to consider that factor. But waiting until your full retirement age and then after, really no earnings test, depending on what your income is, again, above that 62,160.
And you do get the money back down the line after you reach full retirement age. Your benefits get recalculated, but for a lot of people, they're not really interested in waiting until years later to get that penalty back from the government.
Right. Absolutely. So we're going to stop here for today. I know I kind of teased that last slide real quick. I got trigger finger there. But we appreciate your time. If you have any questions, you can certainly email us at info@buffalofirstllc.com. Give us a call, follow us on all our social media. And part 2 here that we just did today will be posted to our YouTube channel shortly. And we'll pick up with part 3, going through some examples of collecting Social Security at the different ages. So thank you very much. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.